Hey, thanks for dropping in. My name is Scott Carley, and I'm the Change Energizer. And back in November of 2025, Ken Renner invited me to come and speak at Kingdom Entrepreneurs. Kingdom Entrepreneurs is a networking group that happens the second Wednesday of every month right here in Austin, Texas. Their mission is to expand the kingdom of God in the marketplace. We are a networking group of like-minded Christian businessmen and women to connect and exchange networks of help. Our goal is to connect, inspire, and equip our community for the cause of Christ in the marketplace. Well, Ken Renner invited me to come and speak about my new book, Can I Trust You? And my topic is Reputation Retool, leveling up how you're seen, heard, and trusted. So I hope you will enjoy the episode today, and we'd love to hear from you. All right, here we go.
Hey, y'all, thanks for coming to Kingdom Entrepreneurs again here in November. Glad you guys are connecting. This is awesome. Just really appreciate you taking your time on a busy day to come down and have break bread with us and learn some new things about networking and about time management. We have a really amazing expert speaker here that we're blessed to have. And it's really fun to bring and connect with friends and family. How many is the first time you've been here? Wow, all right, thank you so much for coming. This is what it's all about, is bringing our friends and neighbors. I got to bring my neighbor and friend Kiko all the way from Liberty Hill. He's from Spain, so if you guys want to talk soccer, you need to talk with Kiko. So, all right, so Kingdom Entrepreneurs, we really appreciate you coming once again. This is an organization that Jeff and I have been running for the last several years, and what our purpose here is to help expand the kingdom of God in the marketplace. So basically how we do that is by connecting, educating, and inspiring each other to rise to the greatness that God has given to us to give glory to Him. We really feel that our work is an act of worship as long as it brings God glory. And so when in the Garden of Eden, Adam was put there and he went to work. So it is an act of worship as long as we're bringing God glory in our work, and that's what we want to do, is be able to bring the kingdom of God into the marketplace. And so I'd like to know what your score is on that. How open are you to talking about the gospel and to your sphere of influence in the marketplace? It was funny, I was thinking about marketplace. We are kind of, back in the biblical days, they'd have the marketplace would be all these booths set up, and people would come by and get their wares. They would get their melons, or they would get their fish, or whatever like that. And we are the same thing. And it's really cool to see that we're in a marketplace. We just don't have the little booths set up like they did there. But guess what happened? Paul and Jesus did most of their teaching in the marketplace. And it's time for us to bring the marketplace, the kingdom of God, into the marketplace, and that is our goal here. We meet. We've been meeting once a month to break bread. It's usually the fourth Wednesday of every month, and we did a little different this time because of the holidays. So we're going to do that. We moved it up to the second week so we didn't bump up against Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so. This coming year, we're going to be developing this into a little bit more of a networking group rather than a speaker-centric group. Because to do everything we need to do in an hour and to get to know you guys, to get to know each other, similar to like what you do in a BNI group, where you actually get to know who does the roofs, who does the mortgages, who does the Spanish speaking, who does the ultimate banking. I know that, but you guys don't. So we have a directory put together, and we're going to be able to be a little bit more one-on-one networking as opposed to speaker-centric. We're always going to have a good speaker. Maybe a lot of times somebody from this group will come up and speak, or we'll bring in a sharpshooter like Scott Carley. I've known Scott for over 20 years. I've coached with Scott. He's at the time he was doing time management and networking. And I said, Scott, we've known each other for so long. How did we meet? He goes, networking. That's how we did it. It was like way back, and he brought up names that I didn't remember. It was like, okay, well, that's the second thing to go. So I'm really blessed to have him. I called him up. He's got a really cool book out, just came out, and I felt it was very appropriate, especially in kingdom times, where nobody knows who to trust in this world, so they can trust in the true one God. But it's, can I trust you? He speaks to Fortune 500 companies and helping them in mergers and acquisitions. It's just, there's a huge amount of wisdom that this man has, but he brings it right down to who can you trust? So I got a couple scriptures I'd like to share with you, because one of my wife's favorite scriptures is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. You know, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So that's been my cry of my heart for the last quarter, so to speak, is like, Lord, you tell me to turn left and right at this point. I'm not doing it on my own anymore. I'm not going to do it in my own power. And it's been an amazing amount of surrender that allows us to trust with all of our heart in the Lord. Then we have trust in the Lord. Psalm 37, 3, 5, which is amazing too. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Some scriptures, those are promises that we can lean on. And so God's full of these promises. I want today to remind you that he's filled with promises, and lean on those promises when times are a little tough. Like this one, where we're in Jeremiah 17, 7, and 8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water. It has no worries in a year of drought. God bless that scripture. I'm in the real estate business. Do you think we have some people in our business that are worrying a little bit? Well, they've been worrying for a long time, and I pray for them. I pray for my industry, and I actually help educate them on how to be creative in tough times. So, but it's all about, as Scott's going to bring us, it's about trust. When they sit in front of somebody, the first question they're asking you, can I trust this person? And I trust that the message he's going to bring today is going to be a life changer, game changer for you. Without further ado, Scott Carley.
Thank you very much, Ken. I don't have to tell you this, you already know it, but this guy is a mover and a shaker. I mean, ever since I've known him, everything about him has been somebody who got things going and made things happening, and I love that. I love that about him. We are serial entrepreneurs, he and I, and you, and I love the entrepreneurial world. I was never really good at having to work for somebody else. I did a whole lot better when, I created my own jobs, and my brother really actually got that started for me. He was 8 years older than I was. My folks divorced when I was 3, and my dad kind of raised my brother, and then my mom raised me, but I would spend some time over with my dad and my brother, and so when Dad would go to work, he would tell my brother, I want you to iron all of my handkerchiefs and all of my shirts, and if you iron a shirt, I'll give you 50 cents. If you iron a handkerchief, I'll give you a nickel. And so, man, that was a square deal. He loved that. And so as soon as Dad went to work, my brother woke me up and he said, you're going to iron all of Dad's handkerchiefs and all of his shirts, and I'm going to give you a nickel for every shirt that you iron, and I'm going to give you a penny for every handkerchief that you iron. And I thought, wow, 6 cents, let's do it. And until my dad found out. And then he ruined my ironing business because my brother had to go to work. So anyway, it's really great to be here. Ken has been a big figure in my life, actually, in a lot of ways. His original videograph person is the one that filmed my first videos, and you can find some of those 20-year-old videos on my YouTube to this day. And so I didn't know a realtor anywhere that was putting videos, shooting videos, and then putting them on YouTube and other places to bring in clients. And he did it here in California and everywhere. How much are you using video? Yeah, so it's something to think about. Well, we're going to talk about today about reputation retool. Reputation. Your reputation is what people say after you've left the room. And your reputation is what people think when you walk into the room. And some of us have, been able to build a great reputation, but sometimes you crash that reputation. And I've been through a little bit of that as well, and learning how to retool that and rebuild it. Abraham Lincoln said, you can fool all the people some of the time, and you can fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And that is absolutely true. Every day in business, whether it's in boardrooms, sales meetings, or hallway conversations, people are subconsciously asking one critical question: can I trust you? That question is the foundation of every decision, partnership, and opportunity. Leaders ask it when delegating responsibilities. Clients ask it before signing contracts. Teams ask it before committing to a project. When the answer is yes, doors open, deals close, and great things begin to happen. But when the answer is hesitation or no, then resistance and slowdown follows. It determines how quickly decisions are made, how effectively teams collaborate, and how much influence a leader has. Now just think about it for a minute. Think of somebody you trust. I was on the phone call with a great friend of mine. You may know him, Peter Stropel. Peter Stropel is one of the biggest influencers I know. He knows so many people in so many high places, and he and I hadn't been connected in a while. And he looked at my website and he said, Scott, I just wanted to visit with you and spend some time because I want to connect you with some people. And over the next hour, man, he just downloaded to me about 15 or 17 names of people that he said, you need to call them, tell them I talked to you. They need to be on your podcast for what you can do for them and what they can do for you. Now, this is a guy who trusts me. But he's trusted me because over years, he's watched my behavior and watched what I've done and as an entrepreneur and as a speaker and trying to help people. And so he opened the doors for me. A high trust credit score. Credit score. How many of you know what your credit score is? Your FICA credit score. Yeah, well, man, mine's way up in there in the 500s, 600s. Yeah, my son's fixing to buy a house, and he said, yeah, man, I'm so excited. I talked to the mortgage person, and I said, yeah, that's great, man. Just FYI, they're going to ask you to bottom out, zero out all your credit cards. His eyebrows went up, and he said, do what? And I said, yeah, because they want to push your credit score up to the 7-somethings. He said, oh. And so think about the FICA credit score. What does it measure? Huh? Your what? Responsibility. What else does it measure? Payments. What else does it measure? Character. Okay, let's get really simple here, folks. What does FICA measure? Your money. How you take care of your money. That it doesn't really care about anything else. It cares about how you take care of your money. And if you pay your debts, you have a good debt to no debt ratio and all of that. It's looking at your money. And it determines along the way whether you are financially credible or you're not. If you're a risk or if you're credit. So I've used the FICA credit score to help people understand how they measure trust. And so I wrote a book about it, and I developed a thing called the Trust Credit Score. A high trust credit score ensures that you are seen as reliable, credible, and worth following. Conversely, a low trust credit score means that it erodes confidence, stalls cooperation, and stifles growth. Trust is the invisible currency that either accelerates or stalls our success. Currency. Let's all say currency. So when I was a kid, a few years ago, it's been a minute, but when I was a kid, there was an animated cartoon called Underdog. Does anybody remember that anime? Uh-oh, we got some folks in here with some tenure. And Underdog was about, he was actually a shoe shine boy, you know, in the character of a dog. And when somebody would pay underdog, they'd throw a coin at him. Does anybody remember what underdog would do when somebody gave him a coin? He would bite it, wouldn't he? This is a silver coin. It is 100% silver, actually 99.9999% silver. An underdog would take that coin and he would bite it. Why would he bite it? How do you know by biting it you know it's silver? Silver is a soft metal. Gold is a soft metal. And when you bite it, you dent it. Bitcoin. What's the most popular cyber currency right now? Bitcoin. I wonder if they're related to underdog. So our trust is a currency, and it either helps us, go forward or not. It's the fundamental in every relationship, from internal team dynamics to external client negotiations. So that's really what I want to talk about today. And in I handed out to everybody a card here. And I just wanted you to kind of see where trust comes from. Now, trust, that word trust, do I trust them? And, you may have some core values or some other things that help you to figure out whether or not you do or not trust somebody. But usually what I hear about is, well, my gut tells me that, I don't know if they're trustworthy or not. Oh, my gut tells me I can really trust them. So I couldn't live with that. I went through a major trust crash in my life where I destroyed an enormous amount of credibility in my character. And when I did, I had to rebuild it with my family and in the business world. I came to Austin. Nobody in the business world knew who I was. And so I had to rebuild trust with everybody here. And it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen because of what I said. It happened because of the behavior that people saw in me again and again and again. So in one side of this card, it talks about vetted trust. What does vetted mean? Huh? It is. It's a background check, vetted. I've checked this out. I've vetted it to make sure that it's the real thing. Vetted trust is the confidence people have in your character and capabilities based on your repeated behavior, not just what you say. Now let's go back to the FICA, financial credit score. Let's say, man, I got behind and I missed a car payment. And I got sick. I missed a second car payment. And boy, my trust score just went down, and they knocked off, 75 points, and I'm going, oh my word, what am I going to do? And then I had my checking account went bad, and I had a few bounce checks, and so, man, my credit score's gone down. And so I call up FICA. Hey, FICA, how you doing? You having a good day? I'm not having a good day. I had some really legitimately bad things happen to me, and I'm so sorry that I didn't make a couple of mortgage payments, and I bounced a few checks, and I'd like to ask you to forgive me. And FICA will say, okay. And can you put my credit score back up? And what will FICA say? That's right. How long will it take FICA to bump your credit score up 50 or 75 points? How long will that take? Months at least. Years is correct. And why? What are they looking at? Your behavior, your financial behavior. And for us to build a high trust credit score, people have had to see us for a long period of time before they'll give us a high trust credit score. So how long have we known each other? Almost 20 years. Gary, how long have you and I known each other? 15 years, that's right. So I got some people here that have known me for a little while, and so hopefully, well, I guess I'm standing here, I have some kind of a decent trust credit score with them. Well, your reputation as a person and as an entrepreneur is built around your trust credit score. Now, I like what Stephen Covey said. You can't talk your way out of a problem you have behaved yourself into, but you can behave yourself back into trust, and often faster than you think. And so if you have fractured trust with somebody, a client or a vendor or a banker or anybody, if you've fractured, not broken, but fractured trust, just remember that if you start initiating and are proactive in some positive behavior, you can behave yourself back into a higher trust credit score. So, where does trust come from? Well, let's turn the card over and take a look at it. There's five areas that you accelerate or deteriorate the trust that people have in you. So the first one is your vibe. Your vibe. You walk into the room and people feel your vibe, your body language. Do you know that 55% of our communication is body language? And most of it is unconscious to you. When you're good inside and everything is in integrity, you exude good body language. And it's by your posture, your willingness to make eye contact. And there's a lot of things that your posture does, your body language does. Now, everybody in this room has a costume on. Did you know that? Everybody in this room has a costume on. When you get up in the morning and you get ready to go to work, whatever you're doing, you put your costume on, you dress. And the way you dress sends a message to the world out there. Now, I got some good friends that, they live and work and move in the financial world in Dallas. And the guy was telling me yesterday, he said, man, when I'm in Dallas, I got to have cufflinks on. I've got to have a nice boss suit on. I've got to look the part, man. Because all of those people up there, they are measuring how much they trust me by what I'm wearing. And I spoke for New York Life one time, and I went in front of 140 agents. We had a great meeting, and about 15 people signed up for one of my workshops. But the managing partner didn't even talk to me for a year. And finally, I figured out, well, what's the deal, man? What is Eric's problem with me? I mean, I was in a nice suit, and his associate said, yeah, you were. You look good, but you didn't wear a tie. And if you're going to speak for New York Life, you're going to wear a tie. And so after a year, I was able to mend that. And Eric brought me back in to speak to 170 agents. Guess what I wore around my neck? I wore a tie. Did I want to wear a tie? No, I didn't want to wear a tie. But what did I want to do? I wanted to speak, and I want to send out a message that I'm credible and that you can trust me. Sometimes you have to do things that are what the situation asks of you to do to be credible. Well, your behavior. So look in the mirror and think about your behavior, your appearance, your vibe. Have you known people who walk in, and when they do, man, they fill the room with excitement. They fill the room with good vibes. And then have you ever seen somebody else come in, and when they do, they're a downer. I mean, they're a downer all the way, and you just look at them and go, oh, man, the clouds are already here, and it's raining. It's foggy outside. It's going to be a bad afternoon. Your vibe. What kind of vibe do you bring? Does anybody relate? The second area is your motives. Your motives. Are you straight up solid? Do you have aligned goals with the organization? What is your intention in what you're doing? What is your motives in what you're doing? Now, in the entrepreneurial world, in the sales world, there's a thing called commission breath. Have you ever heard of commission breath before? What do you think commission breath is? Huh? That's right. Boy, you can smell it when they walk in the room. I mean, hey, how are you doing? How much money you got? And they just want to sell you something. You know, Ivan Meisner used to say, how many of you came here today, you made sure you had your wallet because you came here to buy something? Anybody?
No hands went up. And then he would say, okay, well, how many of you came in here today, you practiced your pitch, and you're here to sell something? Raise your hand. Half the room, all their hands went up. He said, isn't that weird? So many people came to sell, and nobody came to buy. Yeah, I get it. So your motives. What are your motives? People can read your motives. They can read your intentions and what you're doing. And this book is for sale. Yeah, that's not commission breath. This book is for sale. It's $20, and if you want to buy one when it's over, we're very out front about that. So the third one is integrity. Integrity is your core values. And are we on the same page? So here's the deal. I think I read in this old book one time, two men can't walk together unless they agree. Now, I can do business with almost anybody, transactional business, but I can't partner up with people. I can't be a referral partner with somebody, and their core values and my core values are not aligned. It just won't work. And I can't do it if I know their core values are just off. If they're a lying, cheating, stealing person, we're not going to work together. If they talk behind my back, if they're somebody who ghosts or gaslights people, we're not going to work well together. So you have to think about that. And when you partner up with somebody, you get close. You want to look at their core values and what are we on the same page? That doesn't mean that you're going to be 100% on the same page. Hey, I'm married to somebody, and we are not 100% on the same page, but we're pretty close. But you have to think about that, and people are thinking that about you. Mostly unconsciously, but when they get the trust credit score, now it becomes consciously. I want to make sure they share our values. Number 5, are they even built for this? Has to do with your expertise, your skill set. My wife has a personality, and I believe in a thing called the Fascination Advantage, and it is a personality profile that I'm certified in that I use. And one of the things that it talks about is a personality aspect called prestige. Prestige is somebody who has a high bar of excellence. My wife has a high bar of excellence. That's why she chose me. No, not really. She has a high bar of excellence. She also has a high bar of what's called alert, attention to detail. Now, she is the kind of person that has taught me, pulled me up to a higher bar of excellence. I have some of that, but I don't have it as much as she does. And so her company, without her saying one thing, Community Care, recognized that and created a position of employee excellence. And she created a way to help peers nominate their peers of employee excellence. And every month they give out awards. I think they have, 2,500, 3,000 workers at Community Care, 36 clinics around town, and she's in charge of all that. Why? Because she exudes that trust of excellence and attention to detail. Isn't that cool? So people are looking at about your skill set. What is your, there are things that you may be okay at, but if you can get really good at it, in the trades industry, there are 3 levels in the trades. Does anybody remember what those 3 levels are? Plumber, electrician, what do you start off as? An apprentice. You're just learning, figuring it out. And then the next level is journeyman. That's right. After so many hours and so many trainings, then you can move up to journeyman. You have to take a test to pass into all of those. What's the last one? Master. That's right. You're the best of the best. And only a master can go to the city and pull permits. Nobody else can pull permits. You've got to be a master in that trade to be able to pull a permit. So you might want to ask yourself, am I a master? Well, do I have any certifications behind my name? Have I gotten any designations about what I do? If you'll do that, it raises your trust credit score for everybody. And then the last one is your receipts. What's your track record? And, people, you have a track record with them. And so they have measured that, whether you were consistent in your business, had positive outcomes, long-term reliability, reputation for excellence, awards, all of that. For an entrepreneur for a long time, I couldn't get any awards. I mean, I was self-employed, and I can't say that, Carley's Growth Dynamic nominated Carley's Growth Dynamic to get an award for being the fastest growing entrepreneur. It didn't work that way. And when I joined BNI, I was actually an area director for BNI for 5 years. I was a member for 10 years. But we started taking the Austin region to the top 2% in the world. And we'd go to conferences, and at the conference, because they started handing out awards, I got my first big major award in BNI. Man, I took that thing home, I put it on my wall, and I posted that the award that I got from BNI. People are looking for those awards. You're not being braggadocious. You're not being, look at me. People need to know that you have achieved something. And so put it out there so that they can see it. Does that make sense? So all of these things are things you have control over. And my message is, I think I'm wrapping it up. Is that right? I'm wrapping it up? Okay? As I'm wrapping it up, you have power over almost all of that. When I went through my divorce, and I had to, I was a minister, and the ministry and divorces don't go well together, and so I had to change careers. And when I got into the business world, and I had to rebuild my reputation. I had to rebuild my reputation with my kids, everybody who did or didn't know me, and it took a long time. It took a lot of effort. But I realized that if it was to be, it was up to me. You can't give me credibility. I have to earn credibility in my behavior. And I worked very hard at it. And I went above and beyond in some areas that other people may not have done. But I worked at it because I needed to build credibility with my kids and with the business community. And over a period of time, I did. And now I travel all over the country speaking, and businesses bring me in to speak to those people. I have regained a high trust credit score, and I did it intentionally with God's help. You can do the same thing. Every one of these, just say, where am I on this? You know what, Scott, I'm a 5. Okay, well, if you're a 5, on a scale of 1 to 10, just say, what can I do today in these 2 areas to move me from a 5 to a 6, and then from a 6 to a 7, and then from a 7 to an 8, and then from an 8 to a 9? What can I do? And as you become intentional, you don't have to tell everybody you're being intentional, but as you do it, credibility will begin to rise. Now, in the trust credit score, nobody gets a 10, and almost nobody gets a 9 until I've known you about a year. Because it's your repeated behavior that lets me know what you're doing, and if you are trustworthy. Does that make sense? Now I've got a slide up here. It's the only slide I brought. I am your PowerPoint. I don't have slides. I do sometimes, but anyway, I've got a slide coming up, and there's a QR code on it, and that QR code for me, I'm asking for some feedback. I'd like to know what you thought about, what I did and what I said. If you fill it out, you will get my executive summary of the trust credit score and the book, How Can I Trust You? And then you'll have all of that in a way that you can read and understand and repeat it again and again and again. So I'll quit with this story. I'm a preacher, I quit with this story. One last story. So I went to a networking group in town, and it's going on right this minute. I should be there, but I'm here instead because I'm speaking. I'm the ambassador to that group, ACG, Association of Corporate Growth. It's a national association, white tablecloth just like this, plated lunches. And so there's a lot of M&A people and private equity people there, and then entrepreneurs just like you and I. Well, I met a guy there. We were networking around, and I was working the room a little bit. And I met this guy, and he had glasses on just like I do, and he's in a sports coat, and And so I said, so what do you do? And so he began to, tell me a little bit about what he did. And he was somebody who would come into businesses and evaluate them to see how they were doing. And then he would help them, mostly in the financial ways, to build their business up. And he could broker it out and sell it for them. And so as he began to talk, I am consciously scoring him. And so I'm first thing I looked at him, he had hair growing out his ears and hair growing out his nose, and his glasses were a little smudged, and he didn't get a very high score with that. Because your appearance does impact what people think about you. And so I went, okay, well, but let's listen to him. And I did, I listened. Didn't just look, I listened. And as he began to talk about his motives, he said, I've been doing this for about 25 years because I love helping businesses grow and recover from their problems. Oh, yeah, that scored an 8 right there. And then he started talking about integrity. I have core values. Our company has core values that we operate by. And I try to help pull those core values into those companies and give them some core values. Ooh, he scored almost a 9 on that one. And then he said, I've been certified. He had about 6 or 7 certifications in restructuring companies and helping them. And I went, man, you got a 9 automatically on that one. And then he said, I've done it for this company and this company and this company and this company. I really like this industry. And man, when I'm stepping back, this guy scored 8s and 9s in every area except the hair coming out of his nose and his ears. And so I just put it down, and your trust credit score, your FICO score is fluid. It's not concrete. A month later, we're back at ACG, and I saw him, good vibe. I went over, hey man, how you doing? Oh my word, I noticed it right off. His ears were all shaved, his nose didn't have hair growing out of it, and he looked good and his glasses were clean. And I said, that's putting a 9 on that one. Way to go, buddy. That's a real world. I don't know how to tell you any more real about your trust credit score and your reputation than what I just shared with you. So I hope today you will look at that trust credit score and say, here's 2 areas I'm going to work on. Thank you for your time.
Wasn't that amazing? How about some feedback? What did you hear Scott say that really resonated with your heart? What did you hear? I heard him say a lot of things, but what did Scott say that resonated with you? Real quick. Anyone? Good. Go ahead, stand up.
His first sentence, reputation is what people say when you left the room.
Yeah, that's good. Someone else. What did you hear?
If you want to have integrity, don't have commission breath.
That's good. That's good.
Only the masters get the permit.
Well, that's good. Only the masters get the permit. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, what an incredible meeting we had today. Just a really receptive crowd. You noticed how much they engaged in the questions afterward. So I want to thank all of you for being with us today on the Change Energizer Hot Seat podcast. So thanks for being with us. Until next time, make it a great day.